station, that I thought that that was something that we shouldn't just be brushing aside. And, you know, that was probably what I thought the most flexible solution. But, you know, and everybody has their own take on it. And so then so I don't know whether they're coming to you to get your take on that at this point, but I know they're also coming to you to get the supervisor's take on whether you would be willing to entertain having a smaller lot size. Again, density neutral is what we were talking about, but to have it entertaining to changing the zoning ordinance. And again, we didn't make a recommendation one way or another, but I personally don't think it's a good idea for us to spend time ruminating on it if this is something the board doesn't want to do.
Right.
So that's the way it was left.
And I think also taking away the comment was that they entertained the idea of getting the easements for a pumping station, and they've been turned away by those property owners and have actually ceased conversations because they were getting absolutely nowhere. So if that's, again, a consideration, the board would have to, obviously they're coming in as an investor in property. You as a board members would have to then entertain conversations with those homeowners to find out what is the purpose behind their denying easements and encouraging it for the better part of the township, not necessarily just for a builder.
And if they come before you and are talking about reducing the size of the lots, even though it's population neutral, it can't be a zoning change just for that.
Right.
It would be for everyone, and it might allow smaller, big lots to be utilized in this condensed area. So there are ramifications that need to be really well considered.
And I'd also like to know, like, piggybacking up on what you're saying earlier, Chuck, about the EAC, is what are other townships doing? Because this is the trend. People want smaller lots.
Not really.
Then, what are other townships allowing it? What are they doing?
Yeah.
That's the trend.
That's something we have to explore. Linda?
Linda Jansen, Simmons Road. In regard to changing the R2 zoning, having the developers write an ordinances, and that's what it sounds like they're asking to do again, to change our ordinance. Could this, what they're requesting on that particular Melbourne Hills, could that also be facilitated via a zoning hearing board? Going there and just saying for this, we just want to make smaller lots, or we need these setbacks, rather than changing the ordinance and making it township-wide for every parcel. Could you just do it, since it seems like they only want to do it on that lot, to make maybe and right now they have to be 10,000 square feet for neighborhood lotting. And they had initially said 6,800, and I think the planning commission kind of said, well, maybe tweak it, maybe make it a hybrid between the 10,000 and the 6,000. So couldn't they just accomplish the same thing without rewriting our ordinances?
No.
Just going.
I don't think I want that.
You can't get a zoning variance, and you have absolutely no hardship. You're able to use the land for the 48 lots, and so you can't just go and say, well, we have a hardship because what? You get 48 lots, you're allowed to use it for R2. There's no reason that the zoning board could possibly grant a variance.
Grant a smaller lot, so they would have to rewrite our whole zoning ordinance to accomplish that.
Well, not the whole, but there would be the calculation, neighborhood
But
lotting
I think
portion
the
of
thing
it.
that I am, again, personally more concerned about than the size of the lot, because cutting grass is a real pain in the neck, is the setback. I think there were only, we required 25 feet, and they were only like 20 feet back, and the distance between the houses was I'm more concerned about that. The huge houses on the tiny lots and how close together they were and how close to the road.
Well, as
which is a separate but related issue.
as Tom rightly said,
Yeah.
you have to recognize that Parkside, Melbourne Hill, there are some significant encumbrances on that property that they probably don't wanna deal with. So, if they can consolidate, they don't have to deal with it, their infrastructure is smaller, if they can put in the drilling to put in as opposed to excavating, putting in the low pressure system, they're saving tons of money doing all that stuff. So they have a motivation in it too. But what I think Tom was saying, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, is you have to see how this zoning plays out, not just here, but on all these other parcels that it impacts. And, you know, that would probably, hopefully, like in years past, that was an exercise that the county helped us with in terms of we would conceive changing things, and then they would do a layout for us on various parcels as we directed them to say, well, this is what, you know, it would kind of look like, or, you know, and I think they
Well, they
coordinated
did
with
that in
Carol on that.
Siglersville.
Huh?
They did that in Siglersville.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a long time
the
ago,
county.
yeah.
I remember seeing it. Larry?
From this whole discussion, I have not heard anything that goes against the idea of a comprehensive plan. This all really wraps up in the idea of a comprehensive plan. It shows the urgency of why we need one.
Well, you know, they kind of opened up the can of worms, if you want, by talking about a change, and, you know, it's not gonna be a quick process if we do our jobs right. At least that's
Oh,
what I
I
see.
can see, it's not gonna happen real quick.
I mean,
So,
this could completely change how all our developments look if the houses are so close together and they're closer to the road and it's,
Yeah, and that,
you know,
and they'll also have to change the comprehensive plan, the regional and the county comprehensive plan, because the whole idea behind that was, you have your you have your growth area, which is the higher density, like around
Well, it
here,
won't change the
and they
density.
wanna encourage that. Then when you go to your future growth area, it's a larger density at the 10,000 square feet. So then when the future growth area that blends into your rural resource area, you know, in other words, they don't want it all clustered together and then big giant open fields. In other words, it's a gradual transition.
no, it won't
And-
change, it won't change
With me and
density.
Bonnie, we're.
It's gonna change density per acre.
well, we're
Yes,
talking
per acre,
tract
but it won't
density.
change-
That's a-
It won't change the overall tract
You-
density, but it's
We're
gonna
gonna
change your
ask you to
density
pay
per
directly
acre.
to,
Yes, but-
All right, well,
Yes.
we're not
Yes.
doing nothing right now, so
Well, I'm
I don't
just-
know why we're arguing, because.
Well, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just the last time,
They're gonna be here next Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
letting developers write your ordinances didn't go over well, I'm trying to save you some.
Yes, yes. Let's see what they have to say, and we'll go from there. One step at a time.
I did have them leave the plan in the other room, if you guys wanna look at it, it should
Okay.
still be there, the full-size
I-
plan of the thing, so, yeah, I told them to leave it there.
Well, as I understood it, they were gonna come up with something in between the teeny tiny itsy bitsy squished houses and the spread out ones. That was
Yeah,
what they
well, I
just-
mean, they had things,
I sent you the
I seen those two
yeah,
plans. I
they
seen
had
the
stuff
one
on a
was-
10% grade
the-
in that
the-
plan, so.
The one with the small, Chuck, I think that was wrapped up right in that field there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the larger one went out through the back.
the larger one is the one from 2008,
Yes, okay.
January
I think what the
2008.
planning commission suggested to them was to come up with something that was kind of in between.
Well, something that was more realistic, I mean, they
Yeah.
can't do,
Right, right.
they just put it down like it's a flat piece of paper and nothing going on. There were things on that site that they can't put houses where they have them.
And I have to agree with you, it's true. They're cutting their expenses way down. They don't have no manholes, they have nothing. Nothing, you know, so.
Why shouldn't we get some benefit?
Well, we should.
Well, you just have to
Yeah.
recognize that that's
Well,
the
we
way they see it.
brought that up a little
Yeah.
bit, I think, when we touched on the previous conditions, because they can't meet the previous conditions. They were gonna donate a 7-acre parcel over on, like over by the school, on Swamp
Yeah.
Creek Road, you know. And they don't own that any longer. They were gonna build 1/3 of a sewage treatment plant.
Yeah.
So much the same as we did on the Ragusa tract, that they're not putting in a, you know, pump station, that they're contributing 150,000 towards the new plant. Something should be incorporated for these.
Well, this is, like I
That's
said.
the horse trading that's gotta go on.
One step at a
Yeah.
time as we
It's a
go
package.
through with it, okay?
Any more new business?
I think we covered new business and public comment.
Ernie wants to
He's
talk
been
about
waiting.
sewer.
Give her a chance.
Yeah, I want to bring up the sewer issues. First of all, congratulations, you're moving ahead. I think in the end, if you can't get a good bank loan, you're going to have the benefit of trying to get bonds and seeing that reduced rate potentially. The question I have, and maybe I'm missing something, you talked a lot, since I've been here listening to this, about you don't want to use user fees, your quarterly user fees, you want to stop them from going up anymore because those fees are paying for the debt and some of the issues with the plant, the capacity increase with that. The issue is, I'm still confused here. What is your capacity charge to hook into the plant? What is your separate EDU connection fee? You have two fees. In all my experience with sewer issues, you sell capacity, then you sell connection. What are your two fees?
Connection fee was $7,400.
Yeah, it's all wrapped up right now in the tap-in fee.
You're tapping, you have one fee then, but you don't isolate them, you don't separate them.
I don't believe they are at this point. One of the things that we
I
actually.
don't think they ever were they?
Not in this
No,
township.
they weren't, because, no, and when they went through Ziegler's, I think it was 5,000,
5, yes.
am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
7,405.26.
That was one fee though, that was tied in.
Right.
For
Well,
the
why
tap-in.
didn't you look, I mean, typically sewer plants or sewer authorities and even municipal sewer functions like you are, Limerick Township, you sell capacity and then you sell connection. It's two separate fees. Then you have your quarterly fees after that. My concern is, like, and he just left, Chuck left, but we just had two issues this past planning commission meeting where we had the potential, and I'll round it off, of 80 potential EDUs. You only pay for debt on a sewer plant expansion with capacity. You're not going to get it on user fees, it's going to kill your customers. And that's the part that concerns me. And the issue is, you're talking about this bond issue, and incorporated in that is your new sewer project that you're putting, your new lines in the system, your expansion. That is also part of that bond, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
so that increased financing that you're doing.
Yes.
The issue is, where and how fast is the money gonna come in over the next 2 years? I mean, it was a little a brightness that came about at the last planning commission to know at least we had a developer in here with an old project, Melbourne Hills, who was trying to manipulate something to get his capacity so that he could come in here and be a player. And then we had that other developer back there with the sea hockey property that has the potential of coming in. And that this is all going out. These things don't happen. Normally sewer plants are expanding when there's a pretending of growth available, like builders are ready to dig. We have that with the Ragusa tract. They're ready to dig. That project's moving ahead. That's 39 units. The 150,000 you got there, unless I'm wrong, that was 150,000 promised gift, wasn't it?
Yes.
So they will have to pay capacity
Oh,
and
yeah.
connection.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well,
what is
the
it?
connection, it was all in one.
Why don't
fee.
you really look at redoing that structure and going back and calling one capacity and one out in the street your connection? And I also, because unless I misunderstood something, there's something in the issue of financing that you can't cover 100% as a guarantee of debt based on sewer capacity. So there's the potential that you have to go to the taxpayers for a millage charge eventually. Am I wrong in that assumption?
We've figured out the numbers that we will never have to go to outside the sewer system.
You never will.
No.
I don't believe it. From what I've seen, it ain't gonna happen.
Well,
I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't wanna see that happen. I would rather wanna pay a tax of some kind on a
Sure.
future sewer reserve fund so that there's a guarantee that potentially someday, whether I'm there or not, that somebody could get sewer at my property, knowing there's a potential sewer tax fund that was generated. I mean, then the other thing that's interesting, where is the maintenance coming for this new plant? Have you done the budget line items for that plant? That plant costs more money to operate. you're
Yes,
probably
it
gonna
does.
eventually need an operator and a half.
Yes, it
Once the
does.
plant.
That's exactly
That's
what
what
we're.
And there's
working on
money,
now.
where's the revenue coming to pay for it? You can't keep coming back to your user fees if you can't pay your debt down based on connection capacity. And you're not gonna pay the debt down unless you can connect.
Well, this is exactly when it started is, we had to figure it out that right now, there's enough money to cover what we're doing with the people that are tied in. And then when Ragusa come on, there was more money coming into us.
Absolutely.
And then when Melbourne Hills was supposed to be, they were supposed to be all built by now,
Oh, yeah, we know that.
but it's been delayed by the people. So
Right.
that's why we are now behind
I know,
the
I know,
time.
but it.
Because if you look at the
It's a
regional
concern.
planning,
Mhm.
it showed that there was developments even up at 73.
I know.
All supposed to be done by
I
now,
know that.
if you look way back.
Or wasn't that before the recession?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get Larry here.
Go ahead, Larry.
Guys, I think this meeting has been way too deep in the sewer, but
Yeah,
I have two questions, one of which is related to sewer, and this is more directed perhaps to you and Carol. When the extension was planned, was the consideration given to running the line down to the Perky, across the Perkiomen
Yes.
Creek and then on?
Yes.
Okay, what was the reason why that was not pursued?
Salford would not allow us to come over.
Okay, does that land belong to Upper Salford?
No, it belongs to the county, but
There
it's
you
in
go.
Upper Salford and DEP.
That's the point. It belongs to the county. Upper Salford didn't have a say in it. It was the county that was supposed to make the
No,
decision.
the
No,
Upper
we-
Salford did delay, because I wrote at least 2 letters to the county commissioners asking them to give us a variance for that to go across.
They wouldn't.
And go out, they would not give it to us. It became political because Upper Salford didn't want to see any growth on Clemmer's Mill. They didn't want those people to hook up the sewer, and most of them need.
I'll tell you, another deal was that,
Right.
remember the camp over
Yeah,
there?
the camp.
And
The
and
camp is
the
owned by the county.
County.
Yeah.
We said that we'd give them a connection, only the
Right.
camp,
Yep.
and that was a no-no.
And the county said that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think, I'm not sure if that's the
It's been back.
current belief.
In the years while we were trying to get this through. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry.
okay, so that was in the past sometime.
That was
Yeah.
very
We tried to
aggressively
cut
pursued.
Salford out.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that is, if that were to be revisited, would that be an option for the extension?
I don't think it's worth it, because the engineering's been done right now. It would be a
Well,
cheaper option.
We're still
Well, you're
dropping
permitted
down.
at this point,
Pardon me?
so
Wow.
you have, a year ago, we got all the permits
Yeah.
from DEP that we need for this project.
Right.
So I preferred the route that you're discussing.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Township preferred it. The township very aggressively pursued it. The solicitor, the then manager, the board of supervisors, myself, meetings over there,
Okay.
backdoor discussions with the county. Everybody
That's-
wanted that, couldn't get there. So
And,
now
and
we
it
have
was
a
Upper
plan.
Salford, but the county didn't bite at the offer of the
Right.
variance, okay? And
I
that,
mean, it was
It
going
wasn't
on
actually
before
that
I
it was
even got in,
cheaper,
am I
but you
correct?
wouldn't have
Yeah,
an easy
yes.
one.
okay,
It would
the
have
reason
been
I raise it
a
is because I have been speaking
With
to the
similar
commissioners about this.
construction costs, but then you
The
wouldn't
new
have the
ones, though,
ongoing
see.
maintenance.
Yeah. Second question, nothing to do with sewer. What is the prognosis on getting Mangs posted, which has only been now, about a year late?
Well, I thought that was all set up
Yeah, I
for
thought
people
that was
to
with
do,
Noel.
yes.
I got an email from Noel saying it was all.
And yes, and
She
Noel
does it
said
done?
she was, they were all setting up to do it, and then they didn't for some reason.
Well, it's,
Because it rained, it was the
Yes.
summertime,
Right.
and then
yeah,
the
It was some bad
problem is
weather.
it rained almost every single weekend.
okay.
And then there was so much
I'll
foliage
email her
too,
tomorrow.
and
It's been
poison,
like.
Yeah.
and things like that, that.
Well, the reason I raise it is because with deer season approaching very quickly,
So it's on now,
The-
deer season's open now in Montgomery County.
What are they doing?
well,
It's
oh,
early.
yeah, okay, but
Yeah.
I think there's an urgency here that hasn't been addressed, so just bring that to your attention.
I'll
Yeah.
contact her tomorrow.
But it was supposed to have been done, yes.
It hasn't.
Or they were gonna do it and they didn't because of the weather or
I
something.
think that's what it was, and then too, with the, all the poison and all the things, I think they were waiting maybe till like the frost or something, so that, you know, to kill off the poison, because the understory is so, I don't know, I don't know, I can't really speak knowledgeably one way or the other, but I think they're the reasons I heard.
All right,
Oh, we had an executive session. Tom, you didn't mention that. Monday the 17th. Yes, it was an executive session.
I thought that was an information gathering
It
session.
wasn't? Was it?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Okay, all right, it was
Yeah.
not an executive session.
Yeah.
Could I ask one question? You mentioned that you brought in a company, not you personally, a company's being brought in to check out the noise levels.
yes, yes.
Are they a company that would have the ability to remediate, or are they just gonna make a
They're-
recommendation as to?
No, they can do it.
Okay, cause I think that might be something that, might be noted in the posting that,
Okay.
that Kevin puts out there, so that that'll give more hope, not hope,
I do have a note that I'm gonna, I wanna work with Carol and some other stuff too on, we wanna work on the extension project. And then I will add about the noise or trying for
Yeah, I
noise
just think it's
reduction.
important now to know that these guys aren't just out there
Right.
and gonna say, here's a couple solutions for you, they actually could do the solution.
Yeah, that,
which-
they can, yes.
Yeah, so I think I think people would find that more comforting.
Okay. Alright.
Thank you.
And who's paying for that?
Well, we didn't pay nothing yet.
Didn't
They
pay
just-
anything yet.
Okay.
Okay, they'll give us a price and everything.
Does the engineer have any liability for the noise issue? Who built the
Well,
plant?
apparently he'll come back and he will study it, but he's gonna charge us. The one that was there,
Super
yeah, Roger. Am I correct? Is that what he said?
Yeah,
So,
this company will be less expensive.
oh, way less.
I don't think we should release the retainer without considering that.
I haven't released anything yet.
Thank you.
I'm still holding their money.
Yeah,
Are we done?
okay,
Adjourn?
yep, we'll adjourn,
I'll move.
Discussion, it's over.
all in favor?